Hey everyone, it's Cavallaro with the Cavallaro Group at REMAX 100. Welcome back to Military Spouses and Houses. And today I got Jennifer, and I'm going to butcher her last name if I even attempt it.
It's
Traggorth?
Traggorth. Traggorth.
Okay, I was close, so close.
Yeah, very close.
So here's a fun fact. Teresa used to be in our White Plains office. Jennifer used to be in our White Plains office, and now she's in Hawaii.
I am.
So, what was it like to go from here to there? Because it's completely different.
Yes. So it was a big move to say the least. Personally, it was time for a change. My son went off to college, and my husband and I were kind of looking for a new place to not, I wouldn't want to say start fresh, but just an adventure. So he had an opportunity with work to be assigned over here. So we jumped on it. We figured, why not? It was we were empty nesters for the first time in our lives. And we just decided that it was time to go on an adventure.
That's fun. So he was Air Force, and now he's gone government, civil service,
He's DOD. Yeah.
DOD. Yeah. So he just took the uniform off, but stayed in probably the same job, like most of
Um,
them do.
so he used a lot of his credentials and a lot of his experiences and does something a little bit different now. But yeah.
That's exciting. It's like I honestly could not wrap my head around it because you also took a 20-year business that you had here and started over.
Yeah.
And you're doing pretty darn good over
Thank you.
there.
Thanks. Thanks.
So
I've been hustling. Um, as you know, it's been kind of a different market as well. So moved over here right in the tail end of COVID, which was kind of strange in real estate. And then the past couple of years have also been, I call it another transition in real estate, and I've gotten things kind of moving. So
that's awesome. And yeah, because over the last, like the beginning of 2020 with COVID, it's like, okay, we all gonna die? Is no one ever going to move again in their life? And then all of a sudden, everybody wanted to move. And so then
yeah.
21 was crazy, 22 was crazy, 23 just started going, "Hmm." And
Mhm.
this year has been like, it's been the wildest, craziest stuff ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So we moved here 3 years ago, and so it was right at the tail end of COVID, and I actually stayed pretty busy in Maryland and Virginia through that, but I really attribute that to my systems that I had in place there, and I had a really great, still do, loyal client base there that would refer business to me because I believe in this business. If you take care of people, they'll send you their friends and family because they want them to be taken care of as well.
Yes.
Um, but then when we moved here, I knew my husband and my broker, and that was it. And they both owned houses. So, we had to figure something out and try to and learn the area. And that was really the first thing I did. I tried to just immerse myself in the location here, learn the geography, learn how to pronounce words because the Hawaiian language is very different. We have a lot of vowels here,
Yeah.
and they use vowels differently here than in standard English. So lots of learning to do, learning the difference between the windward side and the leeward side of the island, the North Shore and Honolulu. Oh, and then there's all of Honolulu, which is like New York City of Polynesia, trying to figure out how to navigate, find parking, which is challenging in Honolulu. And, just try to figure out, become an expert quickly in an area that I was not an expert in.
So which island are y'all on?
So we're on Oahu, which
Okay.
is the most populated out of the Hawaiian Islands. It's also the island that a lot of the military and government bases are here. So you'll find a lot of institutions here, bases, military installations, just facilities we are the hub of the Pacific. So
So with
learning.
my first career, I worked Navy and Active Fleet was one of my clients. I worked for a defense contractor.
We have a
And I
lot of
got
those here.
I got to go to Pearl, and I was like, holy moly. And the one thing that I fell in love with is y'all's pineapples because they're so different. Ooh,
No, it's so good and so fresh. There's
yeah,
the fruit here in general that is grown on the island is just delicious. You
yeah, it's like you go pick it out of the field, slice it, cut it, put it on the table, and boom, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah, I'm growing them in my yard and I
Are
don't
you
have a big
serious?
yard. But yeah, yeah, one side of my house I have a bunch of flower pots. So when you finish a pineapple, you pop off the top. Totally
Uh-huh.
not real estate talk, but you could do this there too. Pop off the top, like the crown, the leafy part.
Uh-huh.
You let it dry out for a couple days, pull off some of the bottom leaves and put it in water. It'll root and then you can just put it in soil and it'll grow a whole new pineapple. It takes 2 years, but you'll get a pineapple and they're delicious. So
All right, so if you do it often enough, then you always have a pineapple coming in.
yeah,
You just have to be patient for the first two
yeah,
years.
yep. Just keep a
He's sort of like
rotation.
that crazy friendship bread that everyone was doing. And you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
It's like divide it in half, do this, and all of a sudden you got a loaf of bread. And
yep,
like, what do I do with this other half?
yep,
And yeah, and at some point in time, you're like, I'm putting it in the garbage because everybody has this
yeah,
starter stuff. And
yeah,
now nobody has it anymore. Um, so obviously you work with military because you've got a ton of them coming in and out.
yeah. Which is very similar to the DC market. So that
Yes,
was familiar.
yes. Because I mean, here you've got every branch known to mankind, and I'm pretty sure we have the Space Force, but I'm not really sure where they have their little bases. It's like, is it up in space? Is it down here?
We
I
have a
don't
base here.
know. Do they just like, little Martians? Who knows? Never seen any part of them. Yeah. And yeah, but we've got everything from the Naval Academy all the way to the Pentagon. And it's awesome because it's so cool to watch the Naval Academy play their football and watch the midshipmen walk around downtown Annapolis on a Friday afternoon, always in their uniforms because they're not allowed off base unless they're in uniform. Um, and yeah. So what is your favorite thing about being there versus Maryland?
Mm. So hands down, it's the people.
Yeah.
When I you hear about something called the aloha spirit, but
Mhm.
until you're actually here and you experience it, um, it's it is truly a kind thing. It's also it puts me in mind of like old school American culture, like my grandparents' generation, where, when a neighbor moves into the house, you bring over baked goods or you bring
Yep.
treats or you invite them over for dinner. Like that's a real thing here. It's it applies to driving. Things are slower here. You don't drive as fast as you did on the mainland. People are courteous. If you need to change lanes, there's this magic thing called a blinker. You turn it on and someone will let you in. They will let you merge.
Wait,
Like
what?
you zipper into merge lanes. Like I it's so nice. But yeah, the people are just really amazing here. It's very contagious. It's very healthy. Uh, you take care of your kids, your keiki, and you take care of your kapuna, your seniors, and it's a culture based on family. And your family may not just be blood; it may be new people who you choose to allow into your family, which I think is even more of a um, precious relationship because you know
Yes, because sometimes family members, just because you share DNA, should not be part of your family tree.
right, right.
Mhm.
So yeah,
And
definitely the people.
yes, and they're not always the healthiest, but your friend family is so much better and closer and more supportive. But you got to admit, you do miss the crabs, though, don't you?
I miss crabs so much. Now, yeah, yeah, we were just back and I could have eaten crabs every single meal. Now we can get like crab meat, so I make crab cakes, but I'm talking like digging, picking.
You're talking rip and dip
Yeah, because I'm a
and
Maryland girl through and through. So yeah.
all right, so I'm a Virginia girl. This
Uh-huh.
is still something I'm trying to embrace is this ripping apart a crab and sitting there and eating the carcass. I'm like, I'll do one or two. I'm like, all right, we're good. Now, if you give me the crab cake, I am all in, or, crabs, quiche put crab on anything.
Yeah,
I am all in.
yeah.
Um, but to sit there and have to pick them, I'm like, oh, it gets under my nails and all
Yeah.
that fun stuff. Yeah,
I
not
miss them.
necessarily my thing. So, um, but all right, so when you went over there, you still joined REMAX for obvious
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah. I went into Stander, the umbrella,
Yeah,
the
it's
balloon.
good choice.
So I'm with Remax Honolulu.
Okay, and that's the same one as Allison and Teresa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
coworkers and dear friends of mine.
Yeah, Teresa's story about the PCS with the guy having the seizure as he was moving her stuff into her house. I still can't get over that one.
Yeah. There's all kinds of, everybody's got their own history, right?
So did y'all PCS with the Air Force, or were you lucky enough to stay here since you were here for so long?
So I met David after he retired from the Air Force. So I did not experience any of his Air Force moves with him. Um,
Right.
and while he and I were dating and first married, he was lucky to stay at the same facility for 16 years. So he didn't move other than
That's
from one
awesome.
location to another for a period of time. So we lived in La Plata, um, which was great.
That's amazing because, it's like I had some friends that were in the Navy that moved every 18 months.
Mhm.
We were lucky where we only moved every 4 years, but I would have given anything if we could have just stayed put
Yeah.
and let the kids develop relationships and friendships
Sure.
and not have to move every 4 years because that was probably the toughest part. So I'm envious of y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our rotation is 3 years. We just extended for another 3 years. So we'll be on the island for another 3 years. But then after that, I'm pretty sure that we'll be off to some other location. Um, we are getting close to the end of his career permanently for retirement. But I think that hopefully I have my fingers crossed for a European assignment next because that would be great.
Well, that would be fun.
Yeah.
So even though he's not active duty, y'all are still moving and getting orders for lack of better terms,
Yeah.
just like you did in the military.
Yeah.
So,
It's very similar and it's, they move you and it's part of his career path at this point. So, yeah.
and at this point, he's that close to retirement again, so you might as well just stick with it and reap the benefits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, yeah, and one of the last one I did, I interviewed a mover, and he was telling me about how many times pets get stuck inside beds and they have to bring the beds back and unwrap them to find the pet. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you
Getting
know,
pets here to this island, that's a whole process. Um,
so they don't just come in the little cat carrier and go with you to the new house and explore.
so Hawaii is an island, or all that we're a series of islands. So it's very easy to contain illnesses and diseases and things like that. And there's never been a case of rabies in Hawaii, the state
Are
of
you
Hawaii.
serious?
So they're very protective about bringing creatures to the island. And there's a whole process. It takes about 6 months of planning in advance to get the vaccinations, to meet all the steps. The Department of Agriculture runs it. And it is complicated. I had a great vet Marilyn helped me navigate through the process because luckily he was familiar with it. But I learned the process very thoroughly, and it's one of the things that I offer to help clients moving to the island. I've got a whole bunch of information, links, and advice, tips, lessons learned, things like that, that I share with them. And that's all part of a relocation package that I wrote, to help, to give people something of value. Like, hey, by the way, when I connect with a new contact, to try to get their contact information so that I can send them my relocation package. And then, oh, by the way, do you want me to send you some rentals or some single family homes? You see what I'm doing.
And all right, so did you have to move a cat or a dog?
Both, one of both.
And how long was it from the time you got there until the little fur babies were at home?
So I started the process in advance. So they were not quarantined at all. We did the direct release program.
Oh, nice.
And we actually hired a pet transportation company because our dog was big and a little bit intense. Um, so we had help. And luckily we did that because we ended up having our mini hurricane come up the Chesapeake Bay the week that we were getting packed out. So our
Oh,
pet
gosh.
transport company called and said, hey, by the way, there's a hurricane coming. Can we pick up your dog a week early? We're going to take her, because she flew directly from New York to Honolulu on a direct flight. Because they have to fly at certain temperatures, and there's a lot to it. So they came up, they just swept our pets away, took them up, and then we let our movers hurry to get all of our stuff loaded on our trucks, in the boxes, in the
Oh my gosh.
crates.
So, I mean, all right, so it's a huge process with getting your pets. What about your cars? Do you
Yeah.
move those too, or?
So we shipped one and got rid of mine. I had an SUV, the Grand Cherokee, which you don't think is that big, but land is scarce here, so parking spots are very small and narrow. So I knew I did not want to bring the Cherokee over. So we shipped my husband's car, and again we had that go early so that I think it was about 4 weeks after we got here that his vehicle arrived, and then we just got here and bought an island beater for me and my beach buggy, and which is not really a beach buggy, but that's what I call it, and because there's normally a lot of sand in it. But so that's what we did with the vehicles, and that was easy.
That's awesome. And those are things that you wouldn't think about because, our moves were from, Northern Virginia to Norfolk to Connecticut back to Northern Virginia or
Yeah,
where to Maryland. And so it was no big deal. You just load
yeah,
up the cars and drive them.
yeah, yeah. So
But
whatever, we came here with like 6 suitcases, and we had shipped some boxes of some stuff and had some Amazon stuff shipped it,
uh,
because we managed to move right into our house because, like, I'm a planner, so we had everything lined up so that we get here, have our pets right in our house, but we had nothing other than our 6 suitcases and the household goods that we ordered from Amazon and had shipped to, like, some of my husband's coworkers. So we got
gosh,
the stuff here and basically like camped on 2 folding chairs and bought a TV and TV tables. And but we did we were able to they have loaner furniture on the island from the bases,
oh,
because he's retired. They delivered, like a bed, so we weren't on the air mattress, because when you're our age, like,
yeah,
air
no,
mattress is not cool anymore. Like, we did it for like a couple days, almost a week, and I was like, we gotta get a bed. So
yeah, no, I can't do an air mattress because when
yeah.
we were moving back to DC for our last one, I came ahead of time and spent a long weekend here to paint the rooms
Hmm.
and do some other work around the house and wait because we closed on that Thursday night before Memorial Day, but then our stuff was getting delivered on Tuesday right after Memorial Day. And there was no way to get it sooner. So I'm like, all right, might as well take this redskin room and paint it a color that I could stomach looking at. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yes, I painted a giant white star across the front of it. I'm like, that looks better. And then Yes, because
No,
I
we
have.
didn't have anything like that. Luckily, the house that we purchased um it was flipped, so it was like cleaned up and it was shiny, so which was good.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know what it's like to move into a house with nothing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there was still stuff to do, but nothing like that. And yeah, so we got here and we called it camping for a while until our household goods arrived and went through that whole process.
So do your kids come visit often or do you
Yeah.
come here?
Yeah. So my husband, he has our two older kids. They're my stepkids.
Uh-huh.
And actually our daughter and her husband are coming in November to visit. Super excited to
Oh,
have them.
fun.
Our youngest is in college, so he comes for breaks. And he like any chance he has, he loves to get on a plane and come here. It's a long flight, but it's not a bad gig for Christmas break or summer break. So
No, not at all. Yeah, twist my arm and torture me. So,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, because like when I've only been there a few times for work, and this was God, getting close to 30 years ago because once my daughter was born, I stopped traveling.
yeah.
Um, but it's like I love going over to the stadium for that giant flea market that was
That's swap
outside.
meet. Yep.
And then what was it, like a little underground shopping center where you could get t-shirts for like $2, and
Yeah.
the and it
Yep.
was $2 worth of quality. But hey, at least you could say you were taking something home to everyone. You could take something home. You could take
Don't
stuff
dry
back.
it.
In fact, don't really wear it. Just look at it. Because it's like you could spend $20 and bring something back to everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where it's like I really want to go back to Hawaii because
Well,
yeah,
let
and
me know. You come, we have a
hey,
guest room.
road trip.
There you
Um,
go.
because one of my other favorite thing was like snorkeling at Hanama Bay.
Mhm.
Oh, that
Snorkeling
when the fish
anywhere
come
is
up
just
and start
lovely.
biting at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean the outdoor adventures here are just it's it's unlike anywhere that I've ever lived. And I've always been a beach girl. But just the beauty and the I don't know, it's just hard to explain. We're 5,000 miles away from Maryland. We're the most remote location in the world. Meaning that we're surrounded by the most amount of water. And it's just there's there's different scenes, like there's different like places where you think, am I in a movie? Like kind of pinch me. This is just the land is just so beautiful. I know one of the things that I got right involved with right away was volunteering with Malama Inahonu, which is a group that they protect the turtles, the sea turtles. I don't know. Did you get to see them when you were ever here?
No, I saw them in Cancun where we got to release baby sea turtles
Oh,
to the water, but you had to do it as the sun was going down so the seagulls wouldn't scoop down and eat them.
yeah. Yeah, I had a marine biologist once mention the babies are kind of like the potato chips of the ocean, which is so sad. Like it's sad. Um, but yeah, so I volunteer with the big green sea turtles.
Uh-huh.
It's a great group. We volunteer up at the North Shore. There's one beach specifically where these like 300 pound turtles come up and take naps. And
Oh,
it's been a great way for me to meet people. I've actually gotten some real estate leads because all the tourists come up there to see, they want to see the turtles. And they're a protected species. So we rope them off and then we talk to the tourists about like, what they're doing, what they're, answer any questions that they have. But it's such a nice group of people. And that's been one of the things I've tried to really do is get involved within the community and find some like authentically like Hawaiian type things. Where do people need help? What can I do to organize things? I've always done this Secret Santa like adoption thing. I used to do it in Maryland where
oh,
I would
fun.
have families and assign them to people who would basically help them out for Christmas, help them have a Christmas celebration for their kids. And So I just literally put a post on this one Facebook group and asked if, that we were looking for a family or two to adopt to try to help them have a nice Christmas here. And I ended up with 72 families asking
Wow.
for help, which was incredibly overwhelming. So then I was like, okay, well, let's see what I can find. So I started reaching out to everybody who had met here, and then also on that same Facebook group, asking if people would also be willing to assign, to adopt families. And I managed to get all 72 of them adopted the first year.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
did it again the next year,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun too. It's such a, I mean, it just, it feels good. It's
Mm.
helpful. Um, it's I've done it the first 2 years we were here. I didn't do it last year because I had surgery, so I couldn't handle all the logistics with it. But I will be doing it again this year, and I'm hoping to break 100 families this year to see if
Oh
I
my
can.
God, that's amazing. So, but what I saw when I was in Hawaii is that you had some houses that are very modest, and you can
Mhm.
tell that, they're not living in the $1 million houses. And then you've got others that look like, holy moly, you
Yeah,
know. So, and I know lots of Maryland is the same way, where you've got one extreme to the other, in some cases, similar neighborhoods. So what's the average price house in Hawaii and how big would it be?
so a single family home, an average single family home is 1.2 million. Um, an average condo for like an 800 square foot, 2 bedroom, 2 bath is about 500 right now.
Good
Um,
Lord.
Yeah, remember I said land is scarce, so
Yeah.
dirt is expensive here. Yards are not real big in general. And when I'm saying like an average single family home, I'm talking like a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, like about 1,600 square feet. Homes are smaller here.
So,
Um,
so here that would be in your $300,000 to $400,000 range.
right, right.
Well, depending on where you are. La Plata, probably 500 still because we've had crazy. You
Yeah,
go back down closer to Pax, and that's going to be your 300 to 400 range.
yeah, yeah. So home values are incredibly expensive here. Part of what I needed to learn was like all of the details about what's an average house like. Construction is different here. You don't have it, it's single wall construction for the most part. Homes are not newer construction. My house is considered a newer construction house, and it was built in the 80s. So
Wow.
that's, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of new development here. There's, I've had people say, oh, I only want to do new construction. And I'm like, ooh, okay, well, I mean, I'll send you the neighborhoods that are being developed on the island. You let me know if you're okay with any of those, and it's like two or three. Like, there's just not a lot. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of new construction. People remodel older homes and make them like new again because it's existing.
But that's actually smarter because then you're not having to start from scratch. It's going to be cheaper in the long run, and you get into an established neighborhood that you already like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I know here in Calvert, um, we really don't have much new construction going on at all. It's like if
Right.
you have a lot, yes, but like quality built homes, one of the biggest ones is pretty much done except for some townhouses and condos. I mean, townhouses that they're planning to build, but that's only going to be like two little areas because you have to have public water and sewer.
Yeah.
Most of our areas, well and septic.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember in the early 2000s, Calvert was really blowing up, especially in that northern Calvert area, but they had like, lot size requirements. Like they really controlled the development so that they could kind of keep up with like the school seats. So,
They actually did it very smart.
yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and Waldorf, not so much, but it's Waldorf. So, and but we're lucky because we don't have the problems of Fairfax and Northern Virginia where they build first and then figure out the infrastructure later.
Mhm.
Is the infrastructure has to be there first and then you can build.
Yeah. Yeah.
which makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. We don't really have that problem here. It's more remodel.
But it's such a gorgeous island. So do you ever go over to the other islands to show houses too?
So yeah, I can. I have not yet. You got to bear in mind, my little business here is only 3 years old. And
Yeah.
the first year was super quiet. But I do have the ability to show houses on the Big Island as well as Maui and Kauai. And I've spent, part of my activity of trying to learn the islands. I have spent time on all of those islands to try to learn, boots on the ground. It's the best way to experience it. And it's also a great opportunity to, grab a plane island hop for a long weekend with my husband and go adventuring.
So how much is a plane to island hop? I'm just curious.
So they'll offer specials like $49 each way. So
Oh,
less than
dang.
$100. Most of the time it's like 79. So, and it's super easy. You don't have to
That's
get to
really
the
not
airport super
bad.
early. You
Yeah.
just roll on in and hop on a plane and go. So,
That's actually not bad because if you figure if you're going to go up to New England for the weekend, you're going to pay that in tolls and gas
yeah, for real.
and sanity trying to get through the Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yep.
wow. Um, well, I still crack up over how I met you walking out of one of the sessions at R4, and you're like, "Hi, I'm from Hawaii and Maryland." I'm like, "I'm from Maryland." I'm like, "Oh, Remax 100. Oh, Remax 100."
Yep.
I'm like, "What a small world!" And yeah, and here we are in the middle of Vegas, meeting for the
I know.
first time.
Kind of like at the middle, right?
Yeah, it's like so it's like 2,500 miles this way, 2,500 miles this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Meant
and
to connect.
yeah, it was. And I have another friend in Hawaii, and she goes to Vegas all the time because she loves to gamble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I can't do that. I'm like, I
It's
work
not
way
my
too
it's not
hard.
my scene. It's very overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it, but it's way out of my like Jennifer's comfort zone.
Well, it's way out of mine because the very first time I went, I put $1 in the slot machine and I won 20 cents. And I figured I just lost 80% of my money. So I walked away.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you gonna do R4 this year or any of that
Um,
stuff?
I think so. I didn't go last year, but it's a big thing for the agents here to go to it, and it's
Mhm.
become such a networking resource, and it always helps like jumpstart, get some fresh ideas in my head, and um, learn some new things about the systems that we have in place that maybe I'm not utilizing effectively. So, I mean, I find value in it. Um, I don't, I have to take breaks from all of our peers because they tend to be a lot. So I normally hope that my husband comes with me and then he and I can go have dinner here and there and kind of get away a little bit.
I mean, I love the networking part of it and getting to building the relationships and building the friendships.
Yeah.
And, I did sign up to do the CRS one in Nashville, but now I found out that it's during my son's spring break week.
Hmm.
But I do appreciate you doing this with me, and I still think it's such a small world to be meeting in the middle of Vegas and find out we have the same broker.
I know.
And Ken still tolerates me. He hasn't fired me because he knows when my name comes up on caller ID, it's going to be a doozy. So,
Because you don't bother them often, but when you do, you need them. Yeah, that's the way I've always been too.
yeah, I'm like, here's the deal. If I call you, we probably may need an attorney here soon.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Um, but I appreciate what he does for us, and I know he was a huge help for you, because you had Wayne Wyville for a while.
So
Yeah.
when I first came over to Remax, it was with Barbara Baumler was the office manager in White Plains, and then I had Trish, and so there have been some changes, and I was there when Ken actually purchased the brokerage, and yeah, so there were some transitions. There's always transitions,
There
but
always is.
I've always just treated my business as my business, um, and operated it with the standards that I want to have and try to be consistent and create systems and um
I mean, at the end of the day, as long as the client is happy and you feel like you did everything you could for the client to get them the house they want or to sell the house they needed with the least amount of stress
yeah,
and the best possible outcome, that's all we can do.
yeah, yeah,
And, you know, and I swear if half the people saw one iota of what goes on behind the scenes with this, um, we might get a pay raise. Who knows? And it's like you do what you gotta do. So, um, but yeah, but it was great catching up with you.
yeah,
And
sure.
next time you're in Maryland, give me a call because I'd love to grab dinner. And,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
sorry. I should have reached out to you when we were there. We were there a couple weeks ago, but we were kind of moving and shaking.
I know you have family and it's one of these things of nonstop running and running and running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really the first time I was back in Maryland. I fly to go see my son at his school normally once a year, at least once a year. Just because, to go check in and see how things are going. Um, but it was a busy time trying to catch up with a bunch of people and hadn't been back to my hometown in La Plata for 3 years. And that was a little strange to,
It's changing just a little bit.
yeah, but I mean, if things stay the same, that's stagnating. So it's got to
No,
evolve,
and
right?
it's a good change, a good change.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole area I think is still growing in a very positive way. You know, still for the most part low crime, you know, good people and great opportunities for some of these houses.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a nice place to live, whether you have a family or you're, at a different stage in life. It's
Yeah. Oh, I loved raising my kids in Calvert. It was awesome. Very quiet, you know, it's like farm area, laid back,
yeah,
no stress, no drama.
yeah,
And yeah, the kids are like, Mom, this is boring. I'm like, yes, yes, it is. And we like that. So,
yeah.
like, what good
Hey,
music? Oh, go
were
ahead.
you the Remax agent? I think you were the one that shared that through KV Core you can create the phone number for information about listings
I was,
or
but
with other agents.
so Bright changed that rule and said, no, 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 you can't. After they
Right.
told me you could. And I found a major bug in KV Core and the fact that no one within your brokerage can text that number.
Oh.
Yep.
What about a landing page for
So
creating
what
a
I do is
because
whenever
you can
you,
do that.
yeah. So when you schedule a showing on any of my listings, I have the text message. So Bright, if you're listening, little Mr. DOJ, if you're listening, pay attention. So I hold my finger down on your phone number and I click send message. So it's
Yep.
not automatic.
Right.
And then I have the text replacement in there. So I just type in RCGD and it translates it to thank you for showing my listing.
Yep.
Here's a link to my Google Drive with all disclosures for all of our listings.
Yep. Because you can have information sheets and things like that are available that you send after the showing request. So I just
And
want to
so,
say that was like a big thing. It
uh,
like, opened up a whole different
oh,
idea for
I
me.
was
So
over the moon excited. I'm like, problem solved.
yeah,
Because I called Bright Accuracy. I'm like, we're going straight to the horse's mouth.
yeah,
And she's like, yes, you can do that. And then we started hearing wind if they were changing their mind. So I did a chat with Accuracy and Policy. And she goes, absolutely not. It cannot
yeah,
be any automatic response whatsoever. But then when I found the bug in KV Core, I'm like, no one within REMAX 100 or Realty Group would be able to text that number.
hmm. I
Even
wonder.
though I paid for my own number, no one within the brokerage could text it.
Hmm.
Dumb, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if that's something that can be monitored. Sorry, just thinking for the
Yeah,
rest.
so right now, I mean, I use the text replacement on the iPhone. So I type in 4 little letters
Mhm.
and then it turns it into a whole paragraph with a link to my Google Drive.
Okay. Hmm.
Mhm. And so whatever listings we have, if they're active, you can have the disclosures right there. And then we have, in Maryland now, we have the commission sheet that we have to present with it. If your
Right.
seller has agreed up front that they are willing to offer compensation to the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
And a lot of, some buyers, I mean, agents are going, nah, just put in whatever you want to get paid with your offer. I'm like, I don't like that. I want to know I want to know the conversation you had.
Yeah.
Because right now I got to finish working with a buyer today to get an offer together for is another offer on the table. And knowing what they're offering allows me to structure this in a way that my client has a chance.
It's definitely an interesting time of transition. Um, and I understand where sellers are saying, well, let's see what they ask for. Why should I have to pay more? That's I think what's happening. And you know, sellers have a right to market their or ask that their property be marketed the way they want it to be marketed. So
1000%.
we give them information and do our best to get it solved.
The only downside is DOJ keeps saying they want transparency, but they
And
removed all transparency in our deals.
this is where it gets a little mucky, right? Like pulling
Yeah,
waiters, and we're navigating through this as we're in the middle of changes. So
I feel like half the time you're walking through shark infested water
yeah,
with a chicken bone around your neck.
yeah,
And here, little sharky. And, but again, if this is the way the DOJ wants it done and this is the way we have to do it, it doesn't do any good to go on Facebook and whine and complain because it's not like they're going to look at there and go, oh, look, Robin Cavallaro complained about this 3 times. Therefore, we're going to change the entire ruling.
right. I think I totally agree with you. I mean, you got to just move forward and figure out how to apply it to your business. I don't know about you, but I was trained a long time ago. So when I was trained, you always had a buyer agency commission.
Mhm.
I've always been comfortable talking about how I'm going to get paid in the transaction. I don't do this as volunteer work. This is my career. This is
Yep.
my profession. So it's reasonable to expect to get paid. And it shouldn't be something that people are uncomfortable talking about. And, I do understand in certain cultures, it is very uncomfortable to talk about money and how you're getting paid and how things are going to
Yep.
move around. But when you're buying when you're buying a piece of real estate, we're talking a lot of money. So small fries are the real estate commission when we're talking about like, 2 or 3%
Yeah.
of $1 million house, you know, in the
Yeah.
big picture.
Well, and so I started in Connecticut in '07, and it was mandatory then. You could not step foot on a property without a signed buyer broker agreement unless it was an in-house listing.
Sounds familiar.
That was it. And so every time they were signed, and here's how creative I am. I'd like to say lazy, but we'll keep it nice. So before we had dot loop and all of that, I downloaded an app called PD Filler. So I had a PDF file of all of our documents, and I would go in and everything was labeled. So as I type in the name here, the buyer's name will appear on every other page and every other document that I needed. And it was awesome. And then when I moved to Maryland, and I'm like, oh, you got this thing called dot loop, and I don't have to keep paying for this PD filler app. I'm like, this is awesome. So, but right now it's like if you know how to explain your value, you know how to educate the public, and you know how to show your worth, you're fine.
Right.
if you don't re-educate yourself to a different career.
Right. Well, and I think that that is something that there will be some people who just aren't gonna be comfortable doing it, and they're gonna make some changes. But
And there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
I mean, this business isn't for everybody.
Well, my daughter proved that. She was all set to move home and work for me until she saw me staging a house and getting everything ready. And she looked at me, she goes, "No, I'm not doing this. I am not getting my license. I am not working for you." I was like, but, because she saw me wipe off a shelf that had 30 years worth of dust on it, and it fell straight into my face.
Yeah. Good thing she wasn't here during the foreclosure days.
Oh, they were, because when we were living in Connecticut, every time they would act a little bit entitled or a little bit uppity, I'm like, y'all are going to work with me today. They're like, awesome. So I would pick a multifamily home in the heart of New London and take them in there so they could see how those without lived.
Wow.
And the first time she walked in and saw 4 beds in one room and one baby doll laying on one bed, that image hit her so hard. And my son's like, "But mommy, where's all their toys?" I'm like, "That's it. She has one toy."
Mhm.
And so they went home, and I didn't have a problem with them for about a year. And then I'm like, "Y'all getting uppity again? You're going to work with me again?" And they're like, "We're good, we're good."
Yeah.
So, but for them to see the reality of how a lot of the casino workers lived and a lot of the immigrants really put things in perspective.
Yeah. Good job, Mama.
Well, so far the world doesn't hate me for them, and they're 24 and 26. So
Haven't killed him yet.
no, no, so far we're good. But I absolutely adore you, and I would love to grab, drinks, breakfast, coffee, whatever you
Sounds
have time
great.
for next time you're here. And I don't know about if I'm gonna make it to R4, if I'll be a bad mom and go to Nashville for CRS, but definitely gonna do one of the two.
Yeah. Well, and if you decide to hop on a plane and come to Hawaii, like I said,
Oh, I'm all in. I'm
the
all
guest
in.
room, bathroom,
Yeah.
you're welcome to
Yeah,
come.
we'll just skip the R4 and just do a Hawaii trip. So
Yep. I'll take you and show you some turtles. We'll
awesome.
go do some snorkeling.
I am in. I am in. So anyway, well, I hope you have a wonderful day, because
You
to you
too.
it's still morning time.
It is.
To us it's 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go get a buyer, hopefully under contract.
Go get her. Go get
Yeah,
her.
so awesome. Have a great day, honey.
Thanks. You too.
All right,
Bye.
bye.